Deep dives and blue skies. Welcome back to Talking Blue with Nick, the best Dodgers analytical podcast that you can find.
How we doing, everybody? Welcome back to Talking Blue, the best Dodgers analytical podcast that you can find. I'll be your host, Nick, and today we're going to recap, of course, the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks series that just ended this weekend. 4-game set, first 4-game set of the year for the Dodgers. They, of course, split the 4 games in Arizona. Pretty good series. We're going to run through all of that. So let's waste no time and let's get right into it. As always, you can get this podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can follow us on all social media at Talking Blue Pod. We've had a bunch of stuff coming out on all social media, on X, on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels. Follow us on Reddit at competitive-week8715. Been posting a lot on there. A lot of people really like to talk on Reddit. You can follow my personal X at Talking Blue Nick. Let's waste no time. Let's get right into some injury reports quickly. There's kind of a lot of info to go over quickly, though. So, some good stuff. Clayton Kershaw made what will be his last rehab start this Sunday, and it looks like he'll be back in LA pitching for the Dodgers a week from today, which will be in Sunday against the Angels. We talked about that before, so that is all on track. Teoscar Hernandez, who got injured in this road trip, of course, in Miami, he's going to take live at-bats this week at Dodger Stadium. The two somewhat big ones are Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow. So Snell was supposed to throw on Sunday, but he's still experiencing discomfort, so he did not throw. And then Tyler Glasnow he started playing catch a couple days ago, so that is actually good. But both of Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell are kind of at a standstill. Glasnow got injured relatively recently, so it's still kind of in the early stages. Snell has been hurt for a little while now. It's probably been about a month, and he's kind of gone nowhere. So Snell is a little bit worrying, to be honest, because he has made no progress. I don't think he needs surgery or anything like that. And I do think he'll be back at some point this year. It's just kind of a worry. It's just kind of not a good sign that we're about a month into his injury and there's not really any real updates, or really nothing has gone on. Ben Phillips went back on the IL with, they call it forearm, but elbow soreness. He'll be shut down for 2 weeks, so we'll see what happens with him. Blake Trinan hasn't been cleared to throw yet, so he seems like he's a long ways away. And then we'll end on a good note. Michael Kopech, Dodger reliever, of course, traded for him last year. He is close to returning, not necessarily close in the coming week or so, but he's made 2 rehab assignments, so that probably means within the next few weeks we'll see him. He actually had some funky outings where he walked a ton of batters, but then he was much better today. So that's all the injury updates. Some good, some bad. Let's waste no time. We're going to get into the 4 games. So because it's a 4-game set, I'm going to try to run through the games kind of quickly. As you guys know, if you watch the games, there were 2 games that the Dodgers obviously won and 2 that they lost. The 2 games that they won, a lot of stuff to talk about. The 2 games that they lost, not much to talk about. So the first game, the Dodgers lost 5-3. This game was, of course, played on Thursday. Yoshinobu Yamamoto gets moved up a day to go against Brandon Pfaadt. We talked about it in the preview series. Pfaadt's pretty good. I expected Yamamoto to continue to pitch good. This was pretty much the first time Yamamoto hasn't looked good all season so far. They were held scoreless all the way into the 8th inning. The Diamondbacks had a 5-run lead. Dodgers put up 2 runs in the 8th and then 1 run in the 9th to make it a 2-run game, but they ultimately lost. Offense wasn't completely cold in this game, but Ohtani had a hit. Mookie had 2 hits. Freddie had a hit. Will Smith continues to rake. He had 2 hits. Max Muncy actually had 2 hits, which is good. Pa has a hit, but then Conforto, Kim, Outman, Hernandez pinch hit. All of them went hitless. So really the story of this game was, of course, Yamamoto. So Yamamoto in this game went 5 innings. He allowed 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 walk. Gave up that big grand slam to Gabriel Moreno. He, like I said, only goes 5. He threw 88 pitches, had 9 whiffs in the game. He actually early on in the game looked like himself, the way he's pitched throughout the season, but his command was not as pinpoint, and he just left more pitches over the plate than he's used to. That's what Yamamoto, part of what makes him so elite, is that he doesn't really leave pitches in the heart of the zone very often. And in that inning where he gave up the grand slam, he walked the leadoff guy, Pavin Smith. Josh Naylor got on a single. It was an infield single. Mookie made a nice play, but they weren't able to get an out of it. And then he actually hit Eugenio Suarez. A splitter got away from him. So kind of just rare stuff to see from Yamamoto. And then on a cutter, Gabriel Moreno just hit it out the other way. A guy who hasn't homered all year at that point hits a grand slam. So kind of just a random, not random, but just Yamamoto just didn't have it that night. Wonder if any of it is because he got moved up a day. He had been pitching on 6 days rest. He basically has pitched every Friday. He got moved up to Thursday. Like I said, wasn't as sharp, but the stuff was about the same. He was averaging 94.8, maxed out at 96. There were a lot of fastballs in this game, but his pitch mix was about the same: 33 fastballs, 25 splitters, 16 curveballs. Like I said, didn't get a ton of crazy swing and miss like we've seen him get a pretty good amount of swing and miss earlier in this year. 9 whiffs. So just the first bad performance Yamamoto's had. It's kind of not fair. It wouldn't be fair to kill Yamamoto considering how good he's been. Ohtani ended up a home run later in the game, his 11th home run, so he stays red hot. But that's pretty much it. I saw some people, like I said, who were concerned about how he got moved up a day and then he pitched very bad. And then I even saw some people who were saying Cy Young campaign is over now or something like that. Not sure why I was seeing that. I mean, Yamamoto still has incredible numbers, some of the best in the game. I mean, going into that start, he had an ERA of under 1, sub-1 ERA, 0.90 or something like that. His ERA now is up to 180. So, I mean, Yamamoto was never going to have an ERA under 1 for the entire season. That wasn't going to happen. So, he's still been the best pitcher in the game, one of the 5 best pitchers. He'll close up game 1. Not much to talk about. Just Yamamoto had a blow-up. Dodgers didn't do enough. Brandon Pfaadt pitched pretty good. So, we'll go to game 2. This is one of the games to talk about. This was a pretty wild game. Roki Sasaki goes against Eduardo Rodriguez. Let's run through that game. There was a lot. Dodgers went on the board in the top of the first. Ohtani got on a double. Mookie singles. And later on, Freddie Freeman hit a sac fly to bring in the first run. So then Roki Sasaki goes out for the bottom of the first. And Ketel Marte homers to right field to immediately tie up the game. Then later on, after Josh Smith double, Eugenio Suarez homers to right center. So right away, the Diamondbacks go up 3-1, take the lead from the Dodgers. But we skip ahead to the second inning. Kike Hernandez would homer to make it 3-2. So it is an interesting game. Later on in that inning, Shohei Ohtani doubles and brings in Miguel Rojas. So the Dodgers tie up the game 3-3. Third inning, a lot of action this inning. Will Smith would start off the inning with a walk. Another Freddie Freeman double. Andy Pages would single into left to make it 5-3. It was an error. James Outman, fielder's choice at first base. Josh Naylor threw the ball away, so Dodgers go up 7-3. And Mookie Betts hit a sac fly to make it 8-3. So Dodgers go up 8-3, so they have a pretty substantial lead in this game. We skip ahead to the 5th inning. Anthony Banda comes in to replace Sasaki after a leadoff walk. After the Diamondbacks made it an 8-3 game, or excuse me, an 8-4 game, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. hits a grand slam to left field to tie up the game. So Dodgers had an 8-3 lead. They're now down, or excuse me, it's now tied 8-8. And a bases loaded walk would put the Diamondbacks up 9-8. So just a wild game. We would go all the way to the bottom of the 8th, where the Diamondbacks still have a one-run lead. Ketel Marte hits another home run, as well as Randall Grichuk. So Diamondbacks now have an 11-8 lead. They're up 3 runs. But, of course, we go to the top of the 9th. Freddie Freeman starts the inning off with a single. And then an Andy Pages double into the corner would make it a 2-run game, 11-9 Diamondbacks. Then Kike Hernandez, of course, comes up, doubles down the left field line. That makes it 11-10. It's now a 1-run game. Then Max Muncy singles into right field to tie up the game. So the Dodgers, who were down 3 runs to start the inning, score 3 runs without getting an out to tie up the game. So then James Outman would strike out. Conforto would come up and get hit by a pitch. And then, of course, one of the cooler moments of the season, Shohei Ohtani, 3-run homer to right center field off of Ryan Thompson, who came in. It was an absolute bomb, super fun moment. Dodgers, like I say, go up 14-11. Score would hold. Tanner Scott comes in for the ninth to get the save. Dodgers win by a score of 14-11. Really quickly, Roki Sasaki for 4, Anthony Bonda for 1.2, Luis Garcia for 1.1, Vesia for 1, and then Tanner Scott for 1. Like I said, he gets the save. Dodgers win 14-11. Crazy game. Dodgers have 14 runs on 15 hits. They only had 4 walks in the game, so they had to hit their way to a victory. Quickly, we'll talk about Sasaki again, kind of like Yamamoto. Not too much to talk about. Sasaki's final line, he goes 4 innings, gives up 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, also gave up 2 home runs. He only threw 61 pitches, so they talked about on the broadcast how because Sasaki, like Yamamoto, was moved up a day, they were really going to monitor his pitch count for the day. And the plan was, I believe they said on the broadcast, the plan was when Sasaki would get to about 80 pitches, they would kind of evaluate where he was at. He got taken out after 61 pitches. There were some people I saw that seemed upset with that. I wasn't upset with the move because Sasaki did not look great. So Sasaki only got 4 whiffs on the game. They were all on a splitter. None were on the 4-seamer. He was giving up a lot of hard contact. Like I said, gave up the 2 homers in the first inning. Did eventually lock in, like we've kind of seen with Sasaki, to limit the damage, get some soft contact. He found the strike zone. Like I said, he's done it a lot this year to kind of manage his way through the rest of that outing. But because of the pitch count limit he was kind of on and some really early hard contact, especially on the fastball, the Dodgers clearly wanted to go to the pen to kind of keep themselves in the game. And it obviously worked out for them. So, again, I'm not going to get too much into Sasaki. We've talked about him a lot. But he just continues to not get any swing and miss on his fastball and really just not any swing and miss overall. The year, his fastball has an expected batting average of 308. Now, again, he still has a really nasty splitter. It's got a batting average of 158, expected 189. It's got a 35% whiff rate, but his 4-seam fastball has a 10% whiff rate, which is the lowest in all of baseball. His slider, which was kind of dominant early in the year, is kind of just average right now, 250 batting average again. Sasaki, again, he kind of his velocity fluctuates. It was around 93 to 95 earlier in the game, but then later on, before he got taken out, there were multiple times that he was touching 97. I'm not going to talk too much about Sasaki today. He is starting to look more and more, I don't want to say like a liability, but he is starting to feel kind of disappointing. Now, again, it's very early. I think he's shown a lot of growth. I think there's been a lot of good signs with him. I trust him long term. I think he's going to be a very good pitcher, just like Yamamoto. Went through struggles, but then bounced back. Now, Yamamoto didn't struggle this bad. Yamamoto never had an ERA in the 4s or anything like that. But I still think Sasaki's still so young. He's only 23. He's got 3 pitches. He's going to figure a lot of it out. But right now in the year, he's got a 4.72 ERA in 34 innings. He only has 24 strikeouts. He's got a whip of 149. He's got, I believe, the highest walk percentage in baseball, 14.3 walk percentage and a 15.6 K percentage. So his expected ERA is 6.13. So he's actually gotten even luckier than what his ERA is actually at. I still think Sasaki's going to be okay. It's just he's been a little bit disappointing up until this point. And where the Dodgers' rotation is at with some of the injuries and some guys who kind of seem to be on a standstill with their injuries, the Dodgers really need him to show some improvement a little bit quicker. Again, they're not in shambles or anything like that. They have the best record in baseball. They are still, right now, looking like the best team in baseball. So they have a bunch of time to figure stuff out with Sasaki. But he really needs to start to improve. He's got to find something with the 4-seam fastball. It's a really bad pitch right now. Again, I just think he's got to switch up his pitch mix. We've talked about it. Adding a hard slider or cutter, something. Just something's got to be different. Add a sinker or something. But again, he's really talented. He's shown flashes of what he can be. He's just in the process of figuring it all out still. So I think Sasaki will be okay. But with some of the injuries, the Dodgers' rotation right now does not look as good as you would have thought. After Yamamoto, it's a lot more uncertainty and a lot more just average. So that's it with Sasaki. Hopefully his next start, he looks a little bit better and we could talk about him a little bit more. But He's kind of continuing to just not be like awful or anything like that, but not be too good either. So Sasaki's going to be all right. I believe in him. It's just he's coming along slowly for sure. So what I really wanted to talk about was the Dodgers offense and especially Shohei Ohtani. Of course, he had that massive home run. So like I talked about the offense, they had 15 hits. Ohtani had 3 hits. Mookie Betts had 2 more hits. So he has 2 hits in back to the first 2 games. Freddie Freeman had 2 more hits. Andy Paz had 2 hits. Kike Hernandez, who actually gets the start, has 3 hits. So, and as well as Max Muncy had that pinch hit single to tie the game. So the offense continued to string together rallies and look really good. Even with some of the injuries they have right now, Teoscar and Tommy Edman, the offense is looking pretty good. So really, I just want to talk about Ohtani before we go to the next game. Just can't say enough about Shohei. I know we've talked a lot about Freddie, and we're going to talk about him again. But even with what Freddie Freeman is doing, Ohtani's going to win the MVP again. I feel very confident saying that. He's having right now basically the same year offensively that he had last year. May last year, his numbers are a little bit better than they were. He's been on a heater lately, and his numbers on the year so far, he's got a 308 batting average, a 410 on base percentage, a 641 slugging percentage, and an OPS of 1,051. He's got 12 home runs, also 10 stolen bases. So he's just really been on fire the last few weeks. At the 4th highest weighted runs created plus in baseball. He basically grades out as the 4th best hitter in the game right now. Over 300, a 400, an on base over 400, a slugging percentage over 600, and an OPS over 1,000, while also walking 15% of the time. Just can't say enough about Shohei. He's the best player in the sport, I think. Now, he's not the best hitter in the game because that's Aaron Judge, but I do think he's the best player in the sport. What's really cool about Shohei is that ever since he's been with the Dodgers, he's had a lot of these really cool moments. When he finished off his 40-40 campaign last year, he did it with a walk-off grand slam. Then everybody remembers the 50-50 game where he had 6 hits, 3 home runs. He's just one of those players that is a superstar, but also doesn't shy away from those big moments. I think there's no question that he's going to win the MVP this year because of the way he's hitting. He is going to pitch at some point. We'll see when he does pitch. The Dodgers might kind of need him to come back sooner than they would have liked, or they might have to just start his progression with a little bit more urgency. It's crazy to think that he's going to start pitching soon. As a Dodger fan, we haven't seen that yet, the two-way stuff, so I can't wait for that. It's just the Dodgers go as he goes. He's their best player. He's the best player in the game. And right now, he's one of the best 4 hitters in the game. And there's no doubt in my mind he's going to win 4th MVP in 2025. Dustin May versus Corbin Burns. Talked about Corbin Burns in the preview series. Was coming off the IL. So the Dodgers lost this game 3-0. They got shut out. Corbin Burns pitched really good. He goes 7 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. So didn't have necessarily dominant strikeout numbers, but Dodgers only had 5 hits in this game. Shohei had a hit. Paz had a hit. That was Conforto and Kim. So Dodgers just did nothing. Dustin May pitched 6.2. Vesia pitched 1/3 of an inning. And then Kirby Yates went 1. So quickly we'll talk about Dustin May. He went 6.2. 7 hits allowed, which is a little high. But 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. So he goes 6.2 and allows 2 earned runs. So pretty solid start from Dustin May. Definitely pitched good enough for the Dodgers to win the game. Threw 88 pitches, had 7 whiffs in the game. So it was a pretty solid bounce-back start from Dustin May. We've kind of seen him struggle the last few weeks. So it was good to see him have a pretty solid performance. Now, again, it wasn't dominant by any means. 7 whiffs in the game. He did throw a lot more sinkers in this game than he did sweepers. We talked about how he has continued to throw more sweepers than his fastball this year. He threw 54 sinkers and only 32 sweepers, and he only threw 1 four-seam fastball and 1 cutter. So he was just straight sinker sweeper in this game. Dustin May on the year, he lowered his ERA to 4.08. He's got 39 innings pitched, 33 strikeouts. Still one of the best ground ball pitchers in the game. He definitely has struggled the last few weeks. Like I said, his sinker has an expected batting average of 296. Kind of what's been one of the problems for him is that his sweeper has not been as dominant. It's got a batting average against of 281. Now, he still has a 31% whiff rate on that pitch. His four-seamer is really good. It's kind of interesting that he only threw one in this game, but his four-seamer has a batting average of .095 against it, and it's got a 28% whiff rate. So that's pretty much it from Dustin May. Like I said, solid bounce-back performance. It was nice to see Dustin May pitch good. Hopefully that can help him moving forward, kind of lock him back into what we saw a few weeks ago when he got off to a really good start. So I think Dustin May, he's kind of in the same boat with Sasaki, that with where the rotation is at right now with a lot of the injuries, you kind of need to see them continue to improve. You need to see Dustin May continuing to improve, and then you have to see Sasaki start to improve. Because they're two guys that have been healthy so far this year and have thrown the ball every fifth or sixth day, but they have struggled at times. May has been definitely better than Sasaki, so hopefully this start against the Diamondbacks can kind of put May back on the right track. Next start, he should pitch, I believe, against the Angels. So that was good to see from Dustin May. But other than that, not too much of an interesting game. Like I said, Dodgers got shut out. Corbin Burns pitched good against them. Go to Game 4. All right, so this game was played on Sunday. Tony Gonsolin versus Zach Gallen. We talked about in my preview pod how I wasn't sure some of the pitching matchups at the time that I recorded it. I actually got the first three right. And I talked about how in Game 4, it was either going to be Tony Gonsolin or some kind of bullpen game. And then it was either going to be Zach Gallen or Ryan Nelson of the Diamondbacks. It ends up being Zach Gallen, so pretty good pitching matchup. Dodgers get on the board in the first inning. They go up 1-0 on a Freddie Freeman double. Fifth inning, another Freddie Freeman RBI. This time it's a sac fly, 2-0 Dodgers. Will Smith then brings in another run on a base hit, 3-0 Dodgers. Then Shohei Ohtani would make it 4-0 later on with a single. Then Freddie Freeman in the seventh inning. Dodgers have a pretty good lead at this point. He homers to right field, his ninth of the year. Dodgers now go up 5-0. Again, this road trip, Freddie Freeman was just unconscious. Diamondbacks would make it a 5-1 game now on a double from Jose Herrera. But then in the ninth inning, a couple of good signs. Mookie Betts homers to right center field. That's actually his first opposite field home run since 2023. I saw that on Twitter, so that was nice. And then another Will Smith hit makes it 7-1. Andy Pages, another hit for him on this road trip, makes it 8-1. And the Dodgers would win by a final score of 8-1. So Tony Gonsolin goes 5 innings. Jack Dreyer for 2/3 of an inning. Ben Kasparius for 1 1/3. Tanner Scott for 1. And then Matt Sauer comes back once again to pitch 1 inning. Dodgers, like I said, win 8-1. Once again, Freddie Freeman had 4 hits. Just unbelievable. Shohei had 2 hits. Mookie had 3 hits. That's nice to see. As well as Will Smith. So the top of the Dodgers order right now are all on fire. I mean, Shohei is just going nuts. Mookie heated up after having a average series in Miami where he was previously hot against the Marlins and then in Atlanta. He cooled off somewhat in Miami. Didn't play bad, but didn't play too great. He then gets 2 hits in the first 2 games, and then in the fourth game gets 3 hits. Freddie, like I said, 4 hits. Will Smith, 2. Pages had 2 more hits. Michael Conforto actually had 2 hits, his first multi-hit game in a long time. Kike came off the bench and had a hit. Hae-Sung Kim gets 1 hit. That's it from the Dodgers lineup. They put up 18 hits. Again, only had 2 walks, so it's kind of interesting. The Diamondbacks did not walk anybody, and the Dodgers had to hit their way to some offense in this series, and they did. Let's just quickly talk about Tony Gonsolin. He continues to be very solid to start the year. He goes 5 innings, gives up 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. So not as much crazy swing and miss numbers like we saw his first 2 outings. But I talked about how the Diamondbacks didn't swing and miss too much. They have really good offense. So at the end of the day, coming back from Tommy John, it's his 3rd start. He's got really good numbers, and he continued to look really good. Only had 7 whiffs in the game, like I said. Didn't give up any earned runs. Continues to use the entire pitch mix. 39 four-seam fastballs, 21 splitters, 13 sliders, 11 curveballs, 84 pitches. So they kind of have not had him throw too many pitches. Of course, that makes sense coming back from Tommy John. And then quickly his season numbers now, because I talked about how even though he had been kind of dominant his first couple starts, he had an ERA over 4. So after this start, his ERA goes down, of course. So in 16 innings, he has a 2.81 ERA, 21 strikeouts, and he has a whip of Strikeout percentage of 38.6%, which would be the highest of his career by far. He's got a walk percentage of 4.5, which is the lowest he's had since 2020. Usually his walk percentage is anywhere from 9 to 7%. Like I said, he's got the ERA of 2.81. His expected ERA is 2.82. He's got a allowed barrel percentage of 8%. Freddie Gonsolin has been very good in his first 3 starts coming off the IL. I told you how I hadn't seen too much of his first 2 starts, and I really was happy to get to see a good amount of his performances in this game. Could end up being very key for the Dodgers with all these injuries that they've just been hit with the last couple years, and some of these big name guys going down. Some other guys like Sasaki struggling and May being inconsistent. Tony Gonsolin right now is showing that he could give the Dodgers some really good innings. So hopefully he continues to progress and pitch really well. He's always been a pitcher who's always thrown really well throughout his career. Really good stuff from Tony Gonsolin, so hopefully he continues that. Obviously, he's got really good strikeout numbers on the year. Like I said, not as good in this game necessarily, but looking forward to when his Baseball Savant page gets updated with some of the percentile rankings, because he's probably going to have really good K numbers, whiff numbers, and he also hasn't really walked anybody. So far, Tony Gonsolin has been having a lot of strikeouts and has not been allowing walks. And that's what you want to see. The last thing we will talk about before we wrap up is Mookie and Freddie. Also mentioned Will Smith a little bit. So quickly, Mookie Betts, we talked about how he had been struggling for a little bit, and I was kind of starting to gear up to do a deep dive breakdown of Mookie Betts. He had been struggling for a little bit. Now, his OPS on the year is 786, which is solid for any big leaguer, but not for Mookie Betts. His career OPS is 894. So he's got his OPS up to a respectable spot. And I talked about how when Mookie Betts gets hot, he usually gets hot for good extended periods of time, and he can ride that out for a long time. So I expect Mookie Betts' numbers to get up into the 800s and stay there. Now, what's interesting is that Mookie hitting the ball too hard right now, and a lot of his expected numbers are not great, but he's countered his not squaring up the ball or hitting it too hard numbers. He's countered that with not striking out at all, not whiffing at all. He's in the 98th percentile in strikeout percentage, meaning he's in the 98th percentile in not striking out. He's in the 87th percentile in whiff percentage. He's also not chasing, and he's at the 74th percentile in walk percentage. So he's been very hot as of late, and we saw him hit a double in this game and a home run. So when the slug starts to come from Mookie, that's when he's going to start to look more like the Mookie that we've come to know. I've talked about his defense before. He's in the 91st percentile in range, outs above average. Still not going to talk too much about his defense. It's very early. I'm trying to give myself and give Mookie the benefit of the doubt. It's still very early, but early on Mookie's been very good defensively, which is just kind of nuts to think about. So that's very nice that Mookie is heating up. Hopefully he can get that OPS in the 800s, and hopefully he can continue that against the Athletics this upcoming week. Next, we'll just quickly talk about Will Smith. I just want to give him credit. He sometimes can very easily be forgotten with the Dodgers' big three, but right now he's playing a very key role for the Dodgers because some of the other guys are injured. Now, I talked about my preseason. One of my prediction was that he'll have a new career high in home runs. He's only got 3 on the year so far. It's still a ton of time, but I just want to give some of his numbers. He's hitting .314 with a .419 on base, a .476 slug, and an .895 OPS. He's been really good controlling the strike zone, hitting the ball hard. He's in the 83rd percentile in barrel percentage, 80th percentile in hard hit percentage. He hits the ball in the air a lot, so in terms of launch angle sweet spot percentage, which again I've talked about before, is a number that talks about that measures a perfectly hard hit ball in the air leading to a hard hit ball, so launch angle sweet spot percentage. So someone who hits the ball hard in the air, he's in the 86th percentile in that. Squared up percentage, 81st, and then chase percentage, he's in the 90th percentile, and then walk percentage, 92nd percentile. He's got a 15.3% walk percentage this year, which would be a career high. He's always been a guy that's walked a lot, so that's really cool that he's actually walking more. So one of the big keys with Will Smith is that he's always been a very good player, but the last few years especially, he's fallen off mightily in the second half. So we'll look for that later in the year to see Will Smith also throw a runner out in this game. He's one of the best throwing catchers in the game. He's in the 80th percentile in caught stealing, above average, and pop time. So he's one of the best throwers in the game. Sometimes the Dodgers don't give Will Smith a lot of opportunities to throw runners out because a lot of the Dodgers are very slow to the plate. But when he gets a chance, it's always a very accurate, strong throw, hitting very well, and he's obviously playing a huge role in the lineup because he's hitting in the 4 spot with Teo out, and he's moved up in the lineup a little bit. And against lefties, he actually hit 3rd one night against Eduardo Rodriguez. So got to give Will Smith a lot of credit. He's been really good. And then we'll just close up with Freddie Freeman, of course. Can't say enough about Freddie. He's been the Dodgers' best hitter so far this year, which is nuts considering what Ohtani's doing right now and some of the other guys like I mentioned. As a Brave, played 11 years there, had a career OPS of 893. As a Los Angeles Dodger, he has a career OPS of 934. He's hitting 396 with a 437 on base, a 734 slug, a 1,171 OPS, an OPS over 1,100, and is nearing 1,200. He is just on an insane heater right now where he's not striking out. He's putting the ball in play while also hitting for power, pulling the ball. Like I said, he went deep in this game. He's got 9 homers on the year. And what's really nuts to think about from Freddie Freeman is that he's had a couple years in a Dodger uniform that were of the best of his entire career, and I've talked about that before. And right now he is having the best of his Dodger career and the best of his career. It's just really crazy to think at the age of 35, he's gotten better, and he's probably having his best year, and he really should be in the MVP talk. Because he missed some games earlier in the year, he doesn't qualify yet when you look at a lot of the leaderboard stats. Aaron Judge has a weighted runs created plus of 249. Right behind him is Freddie Freeman with a weighted runs created plus of 198. So he's basically been the second best hitter in baseball this year. It'd be really nuts to think if he kept this up, he could really finish in the MVP discussion. It's just been crazy what he's been doing offensively. He's been so fun to watch. And I just can't believe he's got an OPS nearing 1,200. He's just been on fire. He absolutely dominated this road series. The Dodgers went to Atlanta and Miami, and then, of course, Arizona. So look for him to continue that hot hitting against the Athletics this week. So that's going to wrap up this podcast, Talking Blue, episode 22. Thank you guys for listening so much. As always, you can get this podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us at Talking Blue Pod. You can follow myself at Talking Blue Nick. Really good series overall. Dodgers Dbacks. Can't complain too much. Can't get overly excited. Like I said, split the 2 games. Would have liked to see them win the series, but at the very least they split. So the Dodgers next will take on the Athletics at Dodger Stadium. Look forward to the preview series that will come out about them. So thank you guys for listening. Have a good night. We'll see you guys next time.